The big problem with the War Within, a World of Warcraft discussion. Now, I mean, he's got the hero talents in the back here, and I've talked about this before. Hero talents are the biggest bet that Blizzard is making. When they first revealed them, I said this is probably going to be a make-or-break feature, at least for the War Within. Maybe not for the entire World Soul Saga, because they'll probably drop it if it's a failure. But Alpha and Beta are going to basically be all about hero talents. Now, we recently saw they already changed Oracle Priest hero talents based on feedback. So they are taking feedback, and, you know, they're getting all that and going back and fixing things if they need to. They're dropping 8 new hero talent specs this week. So there's going to be more to come with hero talents. But everybody is kind of afraid of what they could mean for the game. So we're going to have to see what that means. Let's see what Nixium has to say about the War Within and the discussion around World of Warcraft. What up, Jack?
This is an abandoned building in the middle of the woods. Okay. Come on in.
Okay. Nixium's humor, man, is good sometimes.
Welcome, friends, to the ruins.
Classic Andy's talking about retail. Yeah.
Of what maybe, at one point, was a very
Looks like
lively place. Somebody pooped over there. It smells. As you can see, the ceiling is falling down. This place is an absolute disaster. And speaking of disasters...
Oh, God. Oh, God.
All right, now don't worry. I'm not actually here to crap on the War Within, but I am here to talk a little bit about some of the criticisms that this expansion has been getting, because War Within isn't even out yet, and it's already being attacked by a lot of people.
Are you interested in finding
out we watched
how
this.
they've ruined the War Within already?
Oh, already? That's impressive.
Apparently the new WoW expansion is dead. It hasn't even come out yet, but it's dead.
I want to talk about the 3 big issues
that
that I keep seeing pop up across the internet that are apparently plaguing one of the War Within's biggest features, and that is hero talents.
I am not saying that the hero talents are going to suck. Their current philosophy is not going to take this as far as it can be taken, brother.
Warcraft 3 was a game where you could play as various factions in Azeroth, ranging from the...
I think one of people's main gripes with hero talents is people just really wanted hero skins, right? They wanted to be able to play as a Dark Ranger, but they didn't want it as a full talent spec where they had to, like, actually basically have player power attached to it and spec into it. And maybe now with player power attached to it, somebody who didn't even want to be a Dark Ranger now has to play Dark Ranger because that is basically the parse works out better that way. So those things kind of piss people off because I think a lot of people just wanted to play out fantasies rather than play out something that's actually attached to hero power. So that's one of the main gripes that I've been reading online.
Horde, the Night Elves, the humans, and even the Undead Scourge. And on these various factions, you had hero units that you could recruit and that you could get gear with, you could level them up, get new abilities, and it was a really cool system that people really enjoyed. It's one of the reasons why Warcraft 3 became as popular as it was back in the day. If you never played Warcraft 3, it's a little bit hard to describe, but these hero units made you feel like a complete badass. And so in the War Within, Blizzard is giving us the opportunity to become hero units ourselves with the use of heroic talents. Sounds awesome, right? So what's the problem exactly? I'm pretty sure that you guys have probably already picked up what the first big criticism is that people are bringing forward, and it's that Blizzard is saying they want us to feel like the hero units from Warcraft 3, but we're already, mirror images of the hero units from Warcraft 3. Let's take, for example, the Druid. In Warcraft 3, the Keeper of the Grove had the ability to summon 3 tree ents. He could summon up trees to fight his enemies. This is the most unique and iconic power of the Keeper of the Grove, and Druids have had it since Burning Crusade. I mean, we're even called heroes and champions of Azeroth by every NPC in the game that we encounter.
I think overall, that's like one thing that people have had a problem with for quite a while. I think a lot of people just miss being that, the human running around Elwyn Forest. Everything's dangerous to you. You know what I mean? And slowly but surely we've become these epic heroes of Azeroth. And I think people miss just being, the regular John Doe running around, and even the wolf is dangerous to him. Now, of course, there's player power creep and everything that comes along with that. But there's something about being, I don't know what it is, being that overpowered champion that just makes the world feel less of an adventure. Like nothing's scary, nothing can kill you. kind of thing. I think that's what a lot of people miss. I miss being a little person and helping out. Yeah, like helping the farmer kill the wolf that's killing his sheep, you know? Those kinds of things that we used to do back in the day. That doesn't exist anymore. And then these hero talents are adding on top of that, it feels like. We're losing ourselves more. We're drifting further and further away from that nostalgic hero who started out in Northshire. And I think sometimes that makes us a bit sad. And playing classic, yeah, you could go do that, but it's not the same. Obviously, you can't relive it once. You can't relive it twice. Yeah, we've been saving Azeroth for 20 years now. Yeah, well, it's supposed to end in the World Soul Saga. We'll see.
Shamans had Ghost Wolf in Warcraft 3, and Shamans in World of Warcraft have had Ghost Wolf since... It is really bright in here. Just turn down the ISO, Nixio. No!
He's fixing his
That doesn't look much better, does it? Maybe I shouldn't have gotten white. Look, the point that I'm trying to make is that all these hero unit abilities and stuff, this whole idea of, oh, try to make us feel like the heroes from Warcraft 3, Blizzard has already done this with previous expansions. The War Within isn't doing anything new here. We already have Force of Nature from Warcraft 3. We already have Ghost Wolves. The only thing that we don't got that's not coming in the War Within is we don't got the Blade Master Mirror Image ability, which Blizzard has said they're not gonna give us. And why not, Blizzard? Why not? That's why in the War...
It's interesting because they could easily do it. Mages already have a mirror image spell, so I mean that code is in the game. They could easily do it, but they just don't want to.
War Within, Blizzard isn't really giving us any sort of like new abilities or anything. They're just kind of giving us
passives. Our first ability for Sandland Death Knights is just your Death Coil and Death Strike have a 10% chance to make your next Heart Strike or Scourge Strike become Vampiric Strike.
Yeah.
Raised Ally has a new passive. We have a new passive for Death and Decay. It increases the effectiveness of your Essence of Blood Queen by 100%. Here we have the Lightsmith Paladin. They actually have this new ability called Holy Ornaments.
It actually feels like Covenants and Shadowlands did more in terms of giving you new abilities than these hero talents are going to do. And even Covenants somewhat had the same issue that these hero talents do, in that, you know, maybe you are a Death Knight and you wanted to pick Maldraxxus because that fit your, you know, your aesthetic. That's what you wanted to do. That's who you wanted to be. That's where you believed your character should go. But Ardenweald was the best one in terms of, you know, what it did for Death and Decay. Right, it was the best one for the parses and everything. So you had to go sit with the fairies in Ardenweald as a Death Knight, and that made no sense whatsoever. But you had to do it because the Parse King said so. And that's part of what the problem is going to be here. Is some people don't want these certain fantasies. Some people don't want to be a vampire. They don't want to be a Dark Ranger. But guess what? If you ain't a vampire or a Dark Ranger, if you're not a Sand Lane or a Dark Ranger, you ain't getting the invite because you look like a fucking idiot running around with the wrong class/hero spec combination. So that's one problem with attaching it to player power. Me personally, I thought they should have gone the route of, like, you know, with Inscription and everything, what we had there, with the way that they could add skins onto your polymorphs or skins onto your certain abilities. Maybe they would change the way certain abilities looked. I think that's what people really wanted. They didn't want this full-blown new talent system.
They actually give people weapons or armor, you know, to wear. But after that, it's passives that just relate to this, with the max being Blessing of the Forge. You might get like one ability or maybe two new abilities, not really anything too crazy. And then the rest of the talents just kind of build upon that.
Glyphs were good for the economy too, they were.
Here we have the Mountain Thane, which their ability is just a passive called Lightning Strikes, where there's just a chance to hit people with a lightning bolt. Call of Thunder, this is just passives, passives, passives. It's not that this stuff looks bad. It just looks very underwhelming compared...
It's just an extension of the talent tree. That's it. And yeah, glyphs, I don't know why they dropped me. I think the glyph system would have been great for this. I enjoyed the glyph system. Should have been used.
To the rest of the expansion, like, if you're gonna call this heroic talents, they need to make us really feel special, very heroic, very badass. And speaking of feeling heroic and badass, this video was sponsored by Zygor.
Are you a fat nerd who wants to take your World of Warcraft gaming to the next level? Make more gold, faster leveling, achievement, profession, mount, and pet guides.
Yes.
All for Dragonflight, The War Within, and even Classic WoW?
Yes.
Then check out Zygor today. World of Warcraft's ultimate add-on, linked down below in the description. It's everything you need to be a pro at the game.
Yeah.
This, my friends, is the Summa Theologica. This book is a basic introduction to Christian thinking. Let's read some, shall we? We judge of a thing according to what is in it formally and essentially, rather than according to what it is immaterially and accidentally. Hence it is more in opposition to truth, considered as a moral virtue, to tell the truth with the intention of telling a falsehood than to tell a falsehood with the intention of telling a truth. Did you get all that? The reason why I'm out here, other than to look like I'm about to perform a satanic ritual or something, is to talk about the third reason why people are criticizing hero talents, and that is, like Thomas Aquinas, apparently they are way too complicated. You see, Dragonflight has the criticism of being a little bit too complex of an expansion. There's just too much to do, too much to figure out, too many Wowhead articles to look at.
Yeah, I mean, the crest system alone is annoying as shit, I'm not going to lie. The talent system, personally, I think is one of my favorite versions of the talent system we've had. It's actually one of the shining lights of Dragonflight. Besides dragon riding, I think the talent system's great. But if you look at anything like, I know the rework to the crafting system, a lot of people like it, but I just find crafting to still be like a fucking headache in and of itself, and I don't want to deal with that shit. And then you got the crest system, which has like 36 different names for 36 different crest versions. You can upgrade certain versions to other versions. The gear names don't match the crest names, so you're not sure what crest goes to what gear unless you go to the vendor himself and try to figure it out, because Mythtrack crests, or Mythtrack gear, does not have Mythtrack crests. No, it's got like Drake or something out, like Worm Drake, all this other shit, weird dragon Super Ball crests that you could use to upgrade your myth gear. I don't know what any of it means. I honestly, at this point, I just recognize crests by their actual logo. I'm like, oh yeah, that's the green and blue rainbow crest. That's the one I need for my Mythtrack gear. That's how I do it, because at this point, I can't even keep track of the different currencies and the different names anymore. There's just way too many. PP is dead. More, what's up, Baby J? Yeah, indeed, no matter what anyone does, there will always be a bunch somewhere on the internet going nuclear, but I think the criticism of hero talents is warranted. Yeah, I usually don't listen to all the criticism, because overall, I actually think Dragonflight has been a good expansion. I've enjoyed it. I think Mythic Plus is in one of the best places it's ever been. Rating has been great. The difficulty in terms of rating, I think, is right on par. It's perfectly balanced at this point. And the talent system, like I said, I actually think the talent system is great right now. But I don't think hero talents were necessary. I think it could have just been hero skins or something like that, and it would have been just fine. Yes, but yeah, you're totally right. I mean, anything Blizzard does, there's going to be a bunch of crybabies who cry about it, of course.
Too many guides to follow if you're that kind of player. And so heroic talents are not simplifying the game and making it more easy to understand and approachable for new players. There's the argument being put forward that hero talents are just complicating the game even more unnecessarily. And before you ask, I personally do not adhere to this argument. I don't really support it personally, in my opinion. However, there's probably going to be a lot of people, even in the comment section of this video, that are going to agree with this and say that World of Warcraft is too complicated and Blizzard maybe needs to dumb it down a little bit. And well, that's actually pretty much it in terms of the arguments against hero talents, everybody. So, what do you think of the new hero talent system coming in the War Within?
Even is that?
From what I've seen, it seems like hero talents are the most criticized and the most lackluster feature of the War Within. The reality is, at the end of the day, we haven't gotten to play with hero talents yet.
No.
Everything is just speculation. Everything is just feedback, criticism. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens, shall we? Hey, Joel, I got a question for you. What do you think of the new hero
These
talents
guys probably don't even
coming
play WoW.
in the new World of Warcraft expansion, The War Within?
Talking to me?
Yes. What do you think of them?
Huh. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, scratching his beard like crazy.
Exactly.
No, great video. I mean, look, here's the thing. Yeah, people are gonna complain and bitch, and we got the truth is we got to wait to see what hero talents actually become, right? Before we really bitch and complain about them. And they might turn out to be something fun, something cool added to the game. The one thing that my only criticism of them is I just wish they wouldn't have really done it. I think class skins would have been a cooler thing, a less risky thing. I don't think hero talents are necessary. That's what I'm saying, to make the game fun. I think the game is in a decent spot in terms of talents and classes and everything else and class fantasies. What they really needed was just some hero skins. You know, give the spells a different effect if you pick that. You know, like I said, the glyph system. Just iterate on the glyph system. That would have been a good way to do it. But we're getting the hero talent system, and we're going to give it a chance. And whether or not it's good or bad, you know, will be important. But I have faith that Blizzard could fix it because shit, it doesn't get worse than Azerite armor was, and they eventually got that shit right. So we'll have to see what happens. But overall, still excited for the War Within. I still think it's going to be a good expansion. Worlds of Saga, I still think it's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to it. Exactly. Why even bother adding them, risking the whole... Yeah, it's a big risk. That's my thing, why. I totally agree. It's a big risk that I feel like they didn't have to take. You know? Why do that? And the thing is, they've talked about it a lot and said that they want to make every system evergreen now. So that means this hero talent system is going to have to continue forward. Like, it can't just be a one expansion thing. So it's like a major thing that they just added to the game that they, at least by their own words, have intentions of keeping going forward. And that's scary to me. Yeah. Personally, I haven't left Battle Dragon in 2 weeks. I just port to every Mythic Plus raid. Yeah, I think a lot of people are at that point. If they didn't, people would bitch and criticize that they're doing nothing. You're probably right, Curdle. You're probably right. There would be that, you know, that criticism that, oh, they're not changing anything. This game's getting old and stale. You're probably right. Yeah, just like Sinitar said, you know, people are gonna bitch no matter what. That's true. I just feel like it's a bit risky. That's it. That's my whole thing. It's like I don't know if it was necessary. Might be a bit risky, but we'll have to wait and see.